Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast for another weekly update on all things Arsenal here. As you can see, I am joined by what's becoming a weekly duo of Liam and Spencer. How you doing, guys? Liam, are you feeling any better since we last spoke, by the way, on the podcast?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Yeah, a little bit better. A little bit better. I was till today till I started doing a bit of lifting anyway.
Oh, God.
I don't help myself.
Oh, dear. You keep yourself fit and all that because you've got, as it's been revealed yesterday, you've got two boys as of April, May. Congratulations there.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, I would say more March, April if I'm going to be totally on the show. The due date is North London Derby Day, incredibly. He ain't going to go 40 weeks, thank God.
You say that now. That whole week, if he's going to be on time, that whole week you're going to be on edge.
Cool. Could you imagine it? Won the title White Hart Lane, and well, never know.
Think of the names, by the way. Martin.
We got a name. I'm not allowed to deliver it till the birth.
Okay, fair enough.
He's going to have another catch. That's all I can say.
As long as it's Arsenal related, like Bobby.
So Bobby Perez, just think of something like that, and it's going to be a catch with the next one.
Okay, cool. Look forward to it, finding that out in the next year, obviously now. But yeah, also Paul Sandwich Brigade. How was that?
Yeah, I was in the boxes Saturday with the upper class, flexing my biceps, shall we say? It was all right as it goes. It was all right. They have a bloody good feud. That's all I can say.
Oh dear. Where was you, by the way? What end of the stadium anyway? Because obviously it weren't being.
I was obviously opposite the dugouts, so I was literally just obviously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just right. Is it West Stand? It is the West Stand, isn't
West
it?
Stand,
West Stand. But I was more nearer to the North Bank side of the West Stand.
Oh, that side of it. Oh, okay. Not too bad. Not too far from me. Obviously, we normally be anyway.
Some of them boxes, though, like the box next to me, I think they got like a cocktail bar in there. They right do them up, don't they?
Yeah, they don't mess about.
There's a lot of money in there. Walk straight in there and bump into Charlie George straight away.
Oh, fuck. All right then. Okay, rub it in a bite.
Yeah, it weren't a bad start. It weren't a bad start.
Oh dear. And then obviously, Tottenham. You got to watch the game in warmth as well. Tottenham in the warmth.
You got to watch the game in the warmth with a nice chicken kind of roast. I'd say it was lovely. And just as I was biting into my last potato, Wolves got their second. So that was really nice. And yeah, you see the old selfie popped out, didn't it?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, you jammy bastard.
But yeah, we always knew Spurs were going to be Spursy sooner or later, didn't we?
I called it from the get-go, and everyone, the name ref was already in the chat and all that. They'll go, "Are you worried about Tottenham?" I was like, "No, it's a new manager bounce as always. Give it 10+ games. They'll get that defeat, and then they'll go." And what have they done? Some happy food night yet again. I've called it again because it's Tottenham. It is Spursy. And the best thing was they were leading to the 91st minute, and they still conceded 2 goals. And then we had
proper Spursy.
And the best thing was, best for all of us was that literally that happened. We got half hour to sort of enjoy it, and then we kicked off against Burnley. Obviously, Spencer as well. Welcome, Spencer. How have you been? Before we get to the game itself, how have you been since we last spoke?
I've been pretty good. Took the missus away this weekend for a little getaway for a couple nights. Got to spend my mom's 71st birthday together with the family, and got to see Arsenal pick up 3 points on Saturday, and all is well in the world right now. It's like you said, Spurs is going to Spurs, and we knew it was going to come eventually. I know people, fellow people I do content with were like, "Oh, Spurs are in first." I'm like, just relax, man. Just relax. They'll show their true colors eventually, and they don't have the depth, and it's showing its ugly face right now. So
yeah, and
but I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me on, man.
That's good to know. And obviously, as you say, yeah, literally, we had a brief moment to enjoy it, and then we had our game. The Arsenal Mystics, we'll get into it, says it was nice of the league to play the last post at all the games. They do that every year for all the teams in the league. So the teams at home the week before, they do the last post, and then the teams on the weekend itself do it as well. So there's no one left out sort of thing. So yes, I've been doing that for years. I've been doing that from how long? that's been introduced and all that, and I think it's a class thing to do and all that. And that's just Celtic, apparently. Less said about Celtic, the better. How they behaved yesterday. But going back to our game, 3 o'clock, obviously Tottenham lose. We're all like, well, hey, I've seen the videos of the concourses and everyone digging out Tottenham. That's all brilliant. We've got Burnley. We've seen our team now. I'll start with you, Spencer. When you saw the team, and you obviously see no Ben White, still no Odegaard, and now we're hearing tonight, well, we've seen in the last hour or so on Twitter, there's reports going around that Odegaard has suffered from concussion via in training back, apparently, hence why he's been out so long. They see all these obviously Odegaard's still out. Jesus was teased, but wasn't in the team. He's gone off to Brazil now. Saka, we were fearful of. I personally wouldn't have started him myself just to piss off Southgate into the he can't play sort of thing, but we didn't do that. No Ben White. When you saw Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, especially Zinchenko back at left back, because Tomiyasu's go to right back, and your favourite player Kai playing in the Odegaard role, was there any? Did you think there could be a weak link in this team today that could cost us?
Honestly, no. I mean, the teams. I mean, sure, we'll get into it a little further, but I didn't really have any concern. I questioned that Eddie wasn't starting because it usually seems like Eddie usually gets pushed back into the team. The Ben White was a little bit of concern, more of a substitution, mindset. If you lose Tomiyasu or lose Zinchenko, there's no option to really bring someone on without potentially playing someone in a different position than they're normally used to. So there was a substitution issue. We had academy kids on the bench. It's down to bare bones. Don't get me wrong, but there's still the quality of players we have currently starting is a lot better than what we had about 3 or 4 years ago, where you're like, man, who we're going to really turn to. But I wasn't too concerned. I was actually surprised how Burnley played, because my big comfort is that Burnley's been very open, which I thought they'd be easy to break down. Obviously, they sat down in more of a lower block and more defending than normal. But I thought it was going to be so wide open that the goals were going to come. So I wasn't as concerned as others may have been.
I mean, myself, I said I saw the team. I thought, even with, as you say, even though we had like 3 kids on the bench, it showed that the bare bones we are with the injuries we've got at the moment. I still thought it was a good enough team to get 4 or 5 against Burnley, because as I say, they are so open, and that's the company way apparently at Burnley. But it's just, I mean, especially when you're seeing obviously Tottenham complain, they've had a few injuries and they're complaining. It's like, well, we're getting on with it. We're on as you say, we're on the bare bones of our backside of our squad at the moment. But it shows again the mentality of the team, not just the improvement in our squad depth, but the mentality just to get on the job and just do what needs to be done. And Trossard up top, I mean, can't say anything more than that. He literally put his body in the line to make sure we scored a goal. He was just a complete live wire compared to his previous starts, where he's been playing out in the left wing. And he's sort of in the left when he started in the left this season. He's like he's isolated. When he goes into that central part of the 3, it's like there's more energy from him, and he's literally like a live wire all over the base, putting the pressure on, and causing defences havoc, like we saw against Burnley and Sevilla last Wednesday. I mean, we'll go to Liam, because obviously you were at the game. You obviously, from where you were as well on Saturday, you got a good view of the entire game from both halves. Trossard, what was your impression of him from the start until he went off? Literally putting his body in the line, as I said.
Yeah, he was very brave to obviously put his body where he put his body, which obviously got the goal. Do you know what? I've kind of come to expect Arsenal Saturday games like this. We do kind of start off quite slowly. So that wasn't a surprise. Obviously, Burnley, like all the teams that are lower down in the table, come to the Emirates and park the bus, don't they? So we obviously do have to kind of be patient in terms of breaking these teams down. I didn't necessarily think we was going to get the goal when we got the goal. I thought we was going on 0-0 at half time. I didn't think there was much in the game first half whatsoever. If anything, we gave them a couple of chances, but I thought we was quite comfortable obviously in possession. But I suppose the thing for me is it's just the sloppy goals that we do concede and give away. We done pretty well to just kind of turn it back round very quickly after, because that could have become a very tough afternoon. I think if we hadn't scored 10 minutes longer into that second half when they equalised. So we got the goal straight away, and then once we got the third, it was game over. Like, you'd never see Burnley getting kind of 2 goals in that game. And obviously we made it hard for ourselves in the end with the Vieira sending off, which, let's be honest, was a red card all day long. When I see it straight away, I was like, it was a bit of a difficult one, because what he's done is he's turned, and as he's turned, he's just kind of committed. He turned and committed himself, and where he committed himself, he had no control. And unfortunately, it was a red card. We couldn't argue that whatsoever, and it did make the last 8-10 minutes not nervy, but it did make us kind of bring Karor on and play 5 at the back and just basically rest on our laurels, which is a bit of a shame, because I think we could have gone and got a 4-4-5. I think it could have ended up like Sheffield United. I think if we'd kept 11 men on the pitch, which is a bit unfortunate, because goal difference is going to play a part, as we see. Liverpool nicked the additional goal yesterday, which has taken them above us. And these kind of games, I think you do need to go and beat these teams by a good 3 clear goals, because I think Man City are definitely going to do it, and Liverpool are definitely going to do it. And that's the only thing that concerns me at the moment. Are we going to do it game in, game out at home? We should do, but I still think we lack. I still think we lack that striker. And even though he put his body on the line, Trossard, you can tell he's not a central striker. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's not an out-and-out striker like an Eddie or Jesus.
No.
That's his natural position. But he just, for me, I see more from him than what I do most of the time with Eddie, unless it's a Sheffield United or Burnley, with all due respect.
Yeah, I think, like, don't get me wrong, I think if you give Trossard 5 games up front, I think he'll start performing to a good level. I think he's got a good record of scoring against big teams. If you look at Brighton, I think he's got a good record of scoring goals. And I think I would like to see him given 5-7 games. But the reality is, when Jesus comes back, Trossard gets dropped again, like Eddie does. And that I think it's quite a tough one for Trossard, to be honest. Like, I think he's such a good player, but I don't see where he starts in that team when everyone's fit. And that's the tricky part, isn't it? Because he is such a good player. And when I mean such a good player, I mean a really, really good, intelligent player who will score you goals. Like we see what he did at Chelsea the other week, kind of bailed us out. And I just think it's really unfortunate that, firstly, obviously, Jesus will get in that team in front of him. And I do think rightly so at the end of the day, because I think what Jesus brings just brings out the best of Martinelli and Saka. But I do think once we get that other strike, once we do get the second striker, I think Trossard's role would pretty much be on the wing.
I mean, what Goonan Gathering says as well, going back to the first half, he thinks it was, because I'll ask you because you were there, he thinks it was so important that we scored before half-time, otherwise the atmosphere would have been very different otherwise. I mean, because it did feel like, people need to remember, Sheffield United, it took us about half hour to score our goal. It felt like it was coming, the goal. It's just a matter of when. But the way it came, I said I'll take it. I said on my stream, it wasn't a typical Arsenal goal in terms of free flowing and in terms of tippy tappy and all that. Like, it was a player literally putting his body in the way, making sure that ball went in the net, and almost done himself an injury in the process, which I was fearful of. But when I saw him sort of walking off and moving his arm and all that, I thought, oh, he'd be fine. He's got 15 minutes now to get his treatment, and see if he came out, he'd be fine. And he did, and he's still on for about another 20 minutes, wasn't he, in the second half? So, as I say, he puts a shift in, and it's back-to-back games now. He played the false 9 role, and he scored in both.
Yeah.
So you can't really complain on that either. It's good to have that option. And again, this goes back to we've been saying since the get-go, Arteta, is that he does a versatile player, and this is the reason why. The Arsenal Mystic says, I thought we handled being a man down very well, never really threatened us. No, we're just being, unlike a certain person down the other side of North London, we are smart. Our manager is smart. we're down a player. You know what? We'll just park the bus and make sure we don't do anything stupid to give them any hope. Unlike Tottenham. Oh dear, got to throw that one in there.
I do think with the atmosphere, I know you said about the atmosphere, but the atmosphere weren't great Saturday whatsoever again. And
I had the game on and it was quiet.
But it's never good on a Saturday, and this is what really bugs me. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think there's a change from last season. I think there's a lot of good fans who can't get tickets who would bring an atmosphere, and that's including and excluding obviously what the AA have done in the ground. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think it is just them personally. I think there's a combined kind of things around that. Yeah. But Saturday games really do bug me because I don't go to Saturday games ever. This year, last year, the year before, where the atmosphere is great. I think a lot of tickets get kind of given away. No, I wouldn't say given away as such. Like obviously they get given away for money. Yeah, they get out, and then I think that it does kind of obviously take it away from the stadium. But I also think like you go to Anfield on a Saturday afternoon, they play Burnley. I can tell you what, there ain't no atmosphere there. It'd be the same at Newcastle. It'd be the same at all the historic grounds that apparently have an atmosphere because it's a game where it's basically it's Goliath, isn't it? Like you're expected to win the game, and that's the problem. We sit in these games, watch a team turn up with 11 men behind the ball. It's not pretty, it's not entertaining. You do have to grind it down, and you're not hiding to nothing really, because if you lose, do you know what I mean? You've got a lot of pressure coming from the media, coming from the fans, coming from social media, but you're expected to win them games. Where if you get a Sunday game, 4:30, you get a Tottenham, a Man United, Man City. The atmosphere is always different. That's when the clubs bring and the fans bring their A game. So I don't think it's ever going to change, and I don't think it is just Arsenal. I think it's a general kind of thing that happens around the whole of the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree, but do you feel like this new ballot system for Arsenal does have an effect as well? Because as you say, the fans that usually go week game in, game out. Yeah. They're not having an opportunity. I'm seeing on Twitter near enough every week, people are putting themselves forward for every ballot, and they still haven't got a ticket for the game.
Yeah, so I do think it definitely does play a massive part. It definitely does. But I'm not sure it changed the atmosphere on a Saturday afternoon against Burnley or Sheffield United or Luton. Do you know what I mean? I don't see that. I know Spencer was just about to say something.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go. Let Spencer come in. Sorry.
So I think the time has to play a factor in it too, because I look at American sports, like 12 o'clock kickoffs for American football over here on a Saturday for colleges, mostly dead unless you're like a good team, right? And even then, if the competition's not that good, like it's hard to get people excited for games when the competition's poor. Like if you'd have played Spurs and Arsenal at 10 o'clock, you wouldn't have to sell that, but you have to sell Luton Arsenal at 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock your time. It's harder to sell that. I mean, the weather's getting gloomy. It is Armistice Day, so there is the somberness around that as well. So that does play a factor into it. But these Saturday games in general, like Liam, it's an interesting discussion because you hear people complain about the 7 o'clock or 12 o'clock kickoffs for you guys, and getting up, and it's hard to get up for games that don't have that spice to them. It really is.
Yeah. And as you said, I don't think it's just generally like Premier League, like you just said, it happens where you are, and I think it happens in a lot of sports. It's just one of them things, really. It's a weird one. Do you know what I mean? Because the problem with Saturday for games now at 3 o'clock, you're never going to get a great game at 3 o'clock because it's going to be on the box, whether it's at 12:30, 5:30, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. So generally, on a Saturday, you're going to just get a top team versus a bottom team, or a bottom team versus a bottom team, and I just think that I think people make it out to be kind of much worse than what it actually really is. If you start looking deep down root cause like we are at the moment, we see that this is a common theme across all sports.
It's hard too because you guys do have the blackout over there, which I think is criminal, but that's another discussion for another time. But we can see everything here in America. I'm talking even our sports. You just pay for it. But you're not, if it's going to be a blackout and it's not on TV, you're not going to put the prettiest game at that slot because you want the views, right? I mean, Chelsea, Man City, 11:30, 5:30 kick your guys' time. Like that's the prime game you want. Even the Saturday games, I can't remember who was the Saturday late game. Newcastle, Bournemouth, not as sexy, but there is some attraction to it. But yeah, the atmosphere, I think you can sense it on TV too. Because I normally don't do the watch along. I'll plug in and say hi to everybody once in a while. So I like to hear the sound of the crowd. And it was definitely a little bit down on Saturday. I definitely did notice it, but once the goal went in, I think the crowd picked up a little bit. There's a little bit of relief because you want to laugh at Tottenham, but if you pull what Tottenham did and don't get your job done, what good was laughing at them for?
Yeah, definitely. And that was as I say, I said I was sort of referring to earlier. Like we only had a half hour to enjoy it, and we got down to business. Off we go. And as we go, we've gone when I went up anyway. Half time, no changes either. So for the first at half time either for us anyway. We started off well. We were doing everything right. We just weren't getting the ball in the net in the end. And then out of nowhere, they equalised, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, what have we done? And then I watched the goal back. While Spencer's gone, Liam, did you think it was a foul on Tomiyasu? Do you think he just went down a bit softly with the contact?
I'm going to be totally honest, I haven't seen the goal back since.
Okay.
Because I've been quite busy this weekend and obviously even stayed.
Yes.
So I've actually not seen no highlights back of obviously the game whatsoever. I just felt at the time that obviously it was an unfortunate goal, but it's deflected in, obviously. But then we benefited on some deflections this year ourselves, and like Man City ourselves, so we can't really argue. And I think it's just one of them things that happen. I actually thought the ref had a pretty good game, to be fair, overall. I actually think he's the best. I'll be honest, I think he's the best ref in the league anyway, which doesn't really say too much, if I'm being totally honest.
Go on.
Yeah, but I didn't think he necessarily had a bad game. But I did kind of totally not seen the replay, so maybe he might have got injured. But I think sometimes it's good to concede a goal like that just to see if you got the character, especially when you've got 8 players that are obviously injured and not available to you. I think that's been kind of gone amiss a little bit in terms of obviously how we've been playing in terms of Europe and obviously back in the Premier League. And we got to remember last year, or for the last 5-6 years, we've been playing Europa Cup football the majority of the time, and we've been able to kind of rest players and just kind of obviously rotate. Where now we're not in the luxury of doing that with the Champions League. And I sit there and think we haven't played good football this year, really, naturally. We haven't played, I wouldn't say not, let me change that. We haven't played great football this year. We played good football, and we've got some really good results, some unbelievable results. But people are moaning that obviously it's not been right this year. But we sit 1 point off the top. And if I think if we'd have sat there at the start of the season and said, like, going into the November international break, we'll be 1 point off Man City, I think we'd have taken that all day long, because we know Man City are the best team in the league. We know that obviously they're favourites to win the Premier League. But I think we're sitting in a good position this year, and I think it might benefit us not being out in front like it was last year, because I think sometimes when you go out in front, the expectation is ridiculous. And I think the pressure that comes with that kind of obviously got to us at the end last year. And we was out for such a long time. And they're on our toes. I think it might be better this year that we're at the moment just slightly behind them. And I think, like, considering the amount of injuries we got and what he's had to do with the squad in terms of kind of rotation and all that, I'm pretty happy where we're sitting at the moment.
Well, as of last night, the full time we saw the Man City game, Arsenal and Liverpool now have the best defence in the joint best defence in the league. They've only conceded 10 goals each. The Man City obviously scored with their 4 goals. They conceded yesterday, now conceded 12. So defensively, there's an improvement there as well. And I understand. Look, I understand for some fans, it's not the same as last year in terms of from Arsenal with the swashbuckling, taking teams to the sword from the get-go, running away and doing what we did last year, sort of running away early on. It does feel like, for me, we've been lessons were learnt last year. We're not going gun-ho. We're doing the mature thing and going slow and steady, and hopefully win the race. Build ourselves up into the season, and when it comes to the business point of the season, February, March time, that's when you kick on. That's what Man City have done famously. Man United under Ferguson, that was the famous thing under Fergie. He'd always have a slow start, performance-wise and in general, got to January and they just kicked on, and United 9 times out of 10 did what they did under Ferguson. Pep's adapted that to his Man City team. So I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. I'm in that sense of, well, we're not playing the same as we were last year, so that means we might not win the league. I think I still believe we can. I still believe we'll win. We will win it. It's going to be obviously. I think it goes down to the final kick of the game, final day of the season, sort of thing. As I say, I think the team and Mikel himself have matured in their playing and tactics, and we're just not going gun ho straight from the off and putting ourselves into a position where if we screw up again, we're then labelled as bottlers and God knows what else by just us the media, but other rival fans. I mean, yeah. So I'm not, as I say, I'm not getting too concerned. But I know there's people in Spain, hint, hint, that probably are, just to use their narrative and all that. But it is what it is. But I'm not concerned, especially as you say, we've got eight players out injured, and we're still winning. I know it's Burnley, but we played Sevilla as well midweek, and we're not playing like we're not injury plagued. We're not doing what Tottenham done. Tottenham have got a couple of injuries and they're falling apart, for example. Whereas I think Spencer alluded to it earlier, our squad depth compared to a few years ago is massively improved, and you're seeing it now when it matters because we are on the bare bones, as we've seen with a few kids on the bench on Saturday. But the players that are coming in as squad players, 9 times out of 10 are getting that job done. They're not messing about. They're not just licking their wounds and going, well, we won't take this opportunity. They're taking the opportunities and they're asking the questions of Mikel. So when we do have a full fit squad, he's got questions to answer for. And next game we got Brentford. And we know Raya can't play that game. So we know Ramsdale's playing. We know at least one got played. We know at least Ramsdale is playing. Because obviously the loan thing and all that, Raya can't play. So straight away there's an opportunity there for, again, Ramsdale to ask the question, put the pressure on that one game, at least, to put the pressure on Mikel. And all players have got to do that. Big clubs, this is why we have depth. Again, it's not Man City standard. No one's going to have a Man City standard squad depth at this moment in time, obviously. But it's about how the maturity of the team as a whole, how they play it and come together. And the best thing about Saturday for me was the reaction from getting pegged back to 1-1. What was it like? It felt like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And then corner came in from Trossard Saliba. On top of the goalkeeper, bang, 2-1. And everything, the relief, I sort of felt it from the crowd and myself that I thought, okay, cool. That's that done. We'll kick on there. We'll eventually kick on, get some more goals in. We won't mess this up today. Basically, I felt that because of the way they responded. Because we've seen it back into Wenger's time, the Unai Emery period, if you want to call it that. If we're in a position where we're winning, got pegged back, we'll start licking our wounds, heads down. What are we doing? And it just fall apart for us. Something we've got to keep saying it. We've got to give Mikel a praise for is this mentality of no, we keep going to the final whistle. Basically, we saw it against Chelsea a few weeks ago, 2-0 down, and fought back. We're seeing it more and more consistently. Pardon me. Got a few people in the chat says got seeing more games. Russ Morgan coming in as well. BX says since August we've beaten City twice, no small feat. Again, yeah, exactly. People say this is the thing with this. Go back to the first City win at Wembley. When going into it, Arsenal have got to win it because if they don't win it, that's their mentality. We win it. I know it's on penalties, and you've got the same people saying we had to win it. Then saying, well, it's on penalties. Does it really count? I don't fucking care. We've beat them, and it proved the point because when we played them last month, started last month, you could tell the confidence in our own team that they could obviously Raya aside for a second. That the team believed coming out and playing the way they did that they could get something out of that game on that day, and they did. Obviously, they did. They got the 3 points, but no, there wasn't that in fear of Man City complex that we've been seeing. We sort of saw last season. So there is changes, and people need to sort of see that, if you will. So yeah. Yeah, Spencer, want to come in and say what you just put in the private? You can come in and say that if you want. Yeah, sorry.
I was just doing some research to kind of back up what Liam was saying. I was trying to compare last year's through 12 Premier League matches till this year. I hadn't got to it yet. I was going to do it earlier today. Sorry about that. But yeah, I 100% agree that it doesn't look the same, but it looks better, in my opinion. And so the result at the end of the game is to win it. If you want pretty football, I mean, that's great and everything, but you have to score at least one more goal than the other team to pick all 3 points up. And like Liam said, we're 12 games into the season. We're at the second break, or November break. I mean, 1 point off of first, like that's really good. I mean, you're not guaranteed to be in a championship race every year. You're just not. I don't care what the badge says. There's not an entitlement to go win a title every year. You have to go out and earn it. And we have watched Mikel grow. And you know, I'll reference, you know, what you said earlier about a certain person in Spain. I've seen some of the comments that some of the people who follow this individual say, and Mikel's a novice and all that stuff. And that's what I hear. But my thought process more when I reflected over the last 4 to 5 years of Mikel Arteta's time here reflects more of that the squad has now upgraded. The manager can only work with what the manager has, and what we've got is a massive upgrade in certain positions. I think Declan Rice is better than Thomas Partey at the 6. Some people are going to disagree with me on that, but Declan Rice is on the team sheet every Saturday. He's there and available. Kai Havertz is not better than Xhaka when it comes to playing offense, but I don't worry about Kai Havertz on the defensive side of the ball. He still plays well. Odegaard does what he has to do. Jesus, like we can go through the positions of people we had in 2019 and 2020 till now, and it's just massive upgrades. And then even the bench is even better. Watch Nelson get better. Saka is probably one of the best players in this league going forward. Saliba, I mean, I know Liam a couple pods ago. Liam's talking about how he's a world class player. I think he's a world class player. I think Declan Rice is a world class player, and I think Bukayo Saka has become a world class player. I don't think we had any world class players on this team 3 or 4 years ago. So I think that's what's different now. And I would say this, man. There's only been 2 clubs that have gone undefeated in English football history, and that's Preston North End and Arsenal. You're not going to win every single game. It's just not going to happen. But what we have to do is keep pushing forward. And right now, at this point, 1 point off of City, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling actually absolutely good. And given the circumstances of the injuries, that's the other thing too. I mean, you look at last year, we lost that title, man, the title run last year for losing William Saliba. And then now having him available, I mean, he's the first name on the team sheet, him and Declan Rice. And we're playing more, I think, possession-based controlled in the middle, where we're not trying to leave ourselves open for counterattack. So I think was our big weakness last year. But yeah, enjoy it, man. We're in a good spot. Just fingers crossed that everybody goes on an international break and doesn't get injured, and pick this thing back up on the 25th of November and keep pushing on, man. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. And as you say, I mean, but going to Man City as well, we're 1 point off them. We've beaten them. Wolves have beaten them. Chelsea could have beaten them yesterday. I didn't expect that yesterday from Chelsea. Fair play to them. Scored 4 goals. So Man City are showing vulnerability defensively as well. The next 3 games after this international break compared to us, they've got Liverpool at home, them not down the road, probably win that now. All these injuries them not got. And they've got Villa at Villa Park. And Villa haven't lost a game in the league at home since we beat them 4-2 last season. So they've got some tough games themselves. I think we've got Brentford. Brentford we come back away, and then we've got. I'm trying to think who we've got then after. There's someone else. Wolves. Yeah, that's it. Wolves at home, and then Luton. I want to say.
Yeah, Luton away.
Luton away.
Yeah. Away.
Yeah, so that's a good. I think that's them 3 games there. That's gonna tell where we're at in terms of we beat them teams. I think we should be beating them, and Wolves are no mean feat. I've said it at the weekend. What Gary O'Neill's done coming in the day before the season, pretty much the day before the season started, and inherit no transfer window for him, and what the job he's done, fantastic. It's not good, even though we're at home for that game. I don't think that'd be an easy game whatsoever. But yeah, I think we should be beating them. No matter how much I want to praise going on Neil and Wolves, we should be beating Wolves. We should be going to Brentford and beating them. And obviously Luton, we should go. I know it's going to be away, but we said again, if you want to win a title, you've got to go to Luton and win. We can't do what Liverpool did. I know Liverpool drew 1-1 in the end, but we've got to take our chances, and I think we've got the capabilities of our squad, full squad or not now, to do that. And Smith Rowe, I mean, obviously we was all fearful when we heard he took a knock and all that, but it turns out he could be back. He could be back for Brentford onwards, so it's not too bad. Hopefully, touch wood. I'm disappointed we haven't pulled Saka out of the international team. Just to even say that he's injured or whatever. Just because I know what's going to happen now. Because obviously after this we've got games coming thick and fast after this international break for Arsenal. Especially when it hits December, when it's like Luton, end of the Champions, the PSV away game, and then it's like every other day pretty much a game, it feels like. And then you're going into January, the FA Cup weekend, and then they've got a 2-week hiatus of winter break. But there's a lot of games between that winter break and when the international break comes to an end in a couple of weeks' time. And I'd rather us be a bit shithousery and pull Bukayo out and not risk it because I don't want he's so key for us on that right hand side. I know I praise Reece and all that and anyone else, but it's not Bukayo, let's be honest. But it is what it is. What have you made? I'm going to ask you guys as well. It's Brazil. Now, Jesus is injured. He hasn't played in 3-4 weeks, something like that. Been a while, feels like. Yet Brazil have done England on us and summoned him to Brazil to assess him themselves. I mean, why? Because now he's got to travel with the injury. He's got to travel in a plane to Brazil, get assessed, just to be told, yeah, you're telling the truth, and come back. So surely, whatever that injury is, it could be the flow itself could inflate the injury and prolong his comeback now. I don't get this rule by FIFA where if a player's injured, if it's an international break, the national team have the right to summon him for an assessment themselves. If he's injured, he's injured. We'll send you the fucking details. It just doesn't sit well with me. Yeah. Kai Havertz, Liam, again, plays a number 10 role. I don't think he did a bad job in terms of he had a few opportunities he could have scored, don't get me wrong. His general performance, I thought, was okay, considering what we've seen, what we've come to see of him in the midfield at the start of the season.
I think Kai Havertz's performance against Seville was very impressive. I thought he was really good against Seville, and he was unlucky not to score. There's definitely a player in there. There's definitely a player that works hard, and there's definitely a player that gets stuck in a little bit. I don't even mind what he did against Newcastle, just for the reason that he shows that he is committed and that he does care. Do you know what I mean? Because I think he does have that little bit of that Ozil S in him a little bit. The way you could come across the way he looks on the pitch and behaves on the pitch that he might not care. I don't believe that whatsoever. I believe that there's a player there, and I think there's a player that's basically been on the floor, which I think is quite surprising. I know Chelsea are really bad last year, but we're talking about a guy who scored the winning goal in the Champions League final. We're talking about a guy that was like one of the most highly rated youngsters just about 2-3 years ago. My personal opinion, his best performances that I've seen have been up top, but I was quite impressed with him against Seville. But then again, I did think Seville were absolutely bang average at the very best, and like it was the most poorest Seville side that I think I've seen in living memory, which is saying something.
Yeah, it's like Sevilla have just gone, well, we know what we're about. We want Europa League. We're going to suck it up now, sort of thing. It didn't pose no threat to us whatsoever. So I was like,
no,
let's take it off.
Yeah, they basically did, didn't they? They basically did. But I think we all hope we all want and we all need to either have a big moment in a game where he basically scores a winner in open play, or just at least gets a goal from open play at the moment. Now the problem he's got is at the moment is that he's missing some really good chances. So if you look at the header the other day, we're being honest, it was piss poor. It was piss poor. Do you know what I mean? That header in the first minute of a game, that should have been on target at the very least. And they're the kind of things that he needs to work on and get better at. But I do think that he brings something to the game. And I think what he does for us as well, he gives us the option to go direct and go long in games. And like I think he can come off the bench and have an impact. He proved that against Man City. I think at the moment he's going to continue to start games, and I think Arteta is going to try and play him into form. But I think we are seeing a Havertz that's starting to kind of change his way a little bit in terms of implementing his style in his Arteta team. But it's not where everyone needs it or wants it to be at the moment, and I think that is quite surprising because when you pay 65 million for someone, you do expect that, but. Unfortunately, I think obviously his confidence was absolutely on the floor, and it's for us to kind of pick up and try and get him back to his best. But I don't know. I want him to do really well. I just the only thing that worries me is when I look at the best 11 and I look at what we want to buy moving forwards with a striker. Where do I see him playing in that first 11? And if I'm being totally honest here, I don't. Not in the first 11. Not in the first 11. I think he brings us something, but if we're looking at our best team, I don't know if he starts.
At this moment in time, no, because obviously, he's not scoring enough. He's not assisting yet enough either. Though he did obviously contribute to a main assist against Man City, but it's coming slowly, and some people are just impatient and get. It is what it is on that side of things, but. I think I agree. Once we get a full squad together, and obviously make a couple more additions in the January window and summer going forward, there's a possibility that unless he picks up, he won't be a starting 11 player, and then that's where Arteta's got to say, "Well, I might have forked this money out on you, but you're not performing to my standards. You've got to be a super sub, if you will." And then, I mean, he did come on. He was a sub against Man City. So I think that again, that sort of game management of what Mikel, he needs to realise when to start and when not to start Kai. But I understand at the same time, it's at this moment in time with the injuries, he's sort of Arteta's hands been forced because of obviously Smith Rowe and then Odegaard. He's got no one else now, and also now Fabio's suspended for the next couple of games or whatever. He's got sort of his hands been forced where he's going to have to play Kai in that role unless Smith Rowe comes back after his international duty, and he's going to have to balance out between the two of them. We don't know how. The weird thing again, what I said earlier about the Odegaard concussion, there's nothing confirmed officially by the club. It's just someone putting the thing out there. So, but even then, that's the whole Odegaard thing. It's just been so quiet in terms of. Why suddenly he played come against West Ham, scored a goal, and then since then he's been not available at all, and it's weird. It's all weird.
Are you saying that? Are you basically saying that you're not sure? Are we debating that it might not be concussion?
Well, again, because it's not official. It's just some random trying to be an in the know. From what I've seen, putting the story out there. It's not an official media source, if that makes sense.
I find it very surprising that if it was concussion, that the club didn't just come out of it.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't the club just come out of it? If it was just concussion and he got hit in training, which allegedly he did on the Friday, why have we not just come out and said, like, this is what's happened?
I don't. Usually the club. This is what I mean. The club always say, if a player's not available by an injury or concussion, they always say, when they put every match day, they put the team out, and immediately in the reply section they'll say so and so is not available because of X, Y, and Z. We've seen it this season. We've seen it in previous seasons. And the Odegaard one, it was just like, well, he's not available. He's not available. He's not fit. Well, he's not fit to play today. That was on the first time, obviously after the game, after the West Ham game, and we've heard nothing really since, detail-wise.
I think it's a bit like Thomas Partey.
God, don't say that.
Well, I do though. I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. If I'm being totally honest, yeah. Like I really do. I really, really do. I think we've made a decision on Thomas Partey personally.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I believe that we're getting him ready for the second half of the season.
No.
Well, what are we getting him ready for? The 8 African nations, because it just seems that I think there's definitely something going on behind the scenes with him. I think that Arteta's kind of snapped with him, and that's it. You know what I mean? And I think at the moment, Jorginho's played all right, to be fair. Jorginho's like your steady Eddie in centre midfield, isn't he? Like he just keeps things ticking at the moment. Like he's not the long-term fix, whatsoever, but he's a good short-term fix for now. I think Declan Rice, 100%. I think he sees him as number 8 at the moment. I think the way he's carrying that ball forward in games is a new attribute that I didn't know he had. And this Odegaard situation does kind of interest me, because Odegaard was kind of not in form, was he, at the back end of them last few games, and we hadn't seen the best of him. So was there a niggling injury or something, or is it? I don't know. I don't want to imagine that there's something else going on, but I just find it hard to believe that the club wouldn't just come out and say, "Yeah, he's got concussion."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's going. I don't know personally if he's going on international duty, because I know he's national captain as well. But I don't believe he's been picked. I don't know. I have no idea. But again, this radio silence is not helping things. Hopefully, as I say, touchwood, he is back for the Bedford game onwards, like Smith and Smith though. So he takes that again, sort of, as I was referring to earlier, take the pressure off Arteta, and he knows his options, and he doesn't have to be. He doesn't feel like he's got a full sky to start every game, if that makes sense. But
maybe he just thought that Odegaard needed a few weeks off. Maybe that's what he thought. Maybe he thought that he was burnt out. For whatever reason,
taking out the equation and sort of easing back in after the international break.
Newcastle's too big of a game to be doing that, though. Surely.
Yeah, it's just weird, especially as a club captain as well. But no, it is what it sort of is. What it is. Obviously, we reassess it obviously after the international break once we know more about. Hopefully, more about it.
Did he get selected for Norway?
I haven't heard he has.
I'll have a look.
I haven't heard anything. That's what I'm saying.
That's what makes me think, does the club need to come out with something now because he gets selected for Norway?
If he doesn't get selected for Norway, then it might be an injury. I don't think there's anything nefarious going on there. I don't think it's as bad as the Partey rumors or whatever. And I'm not going to.
No.
I'm not going to bring that up. But it's he did look like he needed a break, but it's almost like a reset. It's like. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have played FIFA before and everything, and you play like your 9th game, and then you forget how to score because you want to score in a certain manner, so you keep playing. You just need that break to kind of reset you. I think footballers are in the same way. They need to step away from the game and get a different perspective. And sometimes, and that's the thing about Champions League and all the running. Say you want to go for 3 cups this year, the FA Cup included, since the League Cup's out. You're going to have to rely on some of these other players to play for you. You're going to need Havertz to do stuff for you, and maybe the FA Cup. You're going to need Rice to play the 8-1 game or play the 6. The Partey thing, I think he's done. Do I think he plays again for the club? Yes, but I would imagine he's definitely been the first one that gets sold in June next year. I think the Douglas Luiz rumors, I don't know if you wanted to bring that up, Ryan.
Yeah,
I did see a rumor that we were linked to Douglas Luiz. I do like him. I don't know if he's the level of Partey, but he plays. He doesn't miss a lot of game time. So, and I remember the rumor. I think last year was 25 million was what they were looking at to get rid of him. I bet that's almost close to 40 now.
40,
what do you guys? Yeah, what do you guys think about Douglas Luiz coming into this team?
Yeah, I like Douglas Luiz. I think shame we could have got him when we went for him for like 20 million, wasn't it? There was a lot of rumour around that. I think the thing with Douglas Luiz is that he can play that number 6 role and let Declan Rice do what he needs to do. And he's got quite – how old is Douglas Luiz? About 25, 26?
24, 25, around that age.
Yeah, around that age, yeah.
Like, you got 2 players that are not even at their prime yet. And I think, like, he fits the Arteta mould in terms of, like, he's playing in the Premier League. He's proven. You look at Aston Villa. They're only 3 points off the top. Now, that's an incredible feat when we start looking at the top of the table and start saying that we're only a point behind. Aston Villa are only 3 points behind. And at the moment, they're in the battle for the Champions League spots for sure. So he's been a big part of that, and I think he's been an absolute massive part of that. And I think Emery's got him playing, and I think if we do go for him, we're gonna have to cough up big money because Aston Villa have got a lot of money in the background. They pay good wages. It's not going to be easy to go and get Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa whatsoever. And that's my only concern, that Aston Villa don't need to sell. They could put him on a new contract anyway. So I do think that's going to be a hard one to get over the line. But if we could get it over the line, I'd be very happy with that. I think he fits the criteria.
Yeah, I'll take him all day long. Literally, I think him and Declan, and then having obviously another guy, Smith Rowe, in front of them two. Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
he's proven. He knows he can take a set piece from either outside the box or in the box. So, yeah, I think there's a physicality about it. There's a bit of a bite about him as well. They don't sort of normally associate with a Brazilian, so we say. There's that bite about him in midfield. He'll get stuck in. He ain't afraid to mix it up. Yeah, I'll take it. I would take it, but I don't. I think the only way possible to make it possible in January though is if he did a Trossard and sort of kicked up a fuss and effectively put the transfer request in. Sorry, mine just went blank there. Transfer request in like Trossard did last January before he came to us. Other than that, I think that's one we need to probably look at in the summertime. Potentially, because obviously then you ain't got, especially if they're still doing well between now and then, are they really going to want to help strengthen the team? That is it. Obviously, we are, with all due respect, stronger and better than them, but in that moment in time, competing for not a title, Champions League spot, or whatever, they're not. We've seen it in years gone by with other sports as well. Very hard to get things like that done when you're both competing for the same thing, sort of similar things or whatever. But yeah, I think the club have got an idea of getting a centre midfielder in January. Who, apart from Douglas Luiz, I don't know. But I believe who they do get, be it Douglas or whoever, I have complete faith in them because the majority of the time they've got it spot on so far in this era. It's just, yeah. I think the Partey, it's too coincidental that he's going to suddenly be back. He's suddenly going to be back for AFCON. I personally, if I'm the club, I'd be saying, no, you're injured, you're staying put, and just let him sulk on the training pitch. I wouldn't send. What's the point? We're paying him a wage. He's never available for us, and then suddenly he'll be fit to go represent his country. No, sorry. Yeah. Other things aside, that's not on, and bit of a punishment, a repercussion needs to be in place there, but they won't do it. They'll send him off, and he'll come back like 2 weeks later. Do what he did last year. Come back 2 weeks. Last year, 2 years ago. So come back come back, demand to play the game, get sent off, and screw us even more. So
that was horrible too, Ryan. Do you remember that? He came on as a sub and 2 yellow cards. Boom, boom. You're like, what? What was the point?
Literally arrived back on the morning of the game. It was a second leg against Liverpool as well. I think it was the second leg, wasn't it? It was against Liverpool either way.
Yeah, second leg.
At the end, it was against Liverpool in the League Cup side. We'll call it Carling Cup. But it's show my age. And he was like, he's telling us, I want to play. I want to play. I was like, okay, you're on the bench, but you'll come on at some point. Came on, got 2 bookings in 5 minutes. For fuck's sake. And he put us back to square one because he came back, added an option, then got himself suspended for the next game. It's like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. So he went back to having Sambi Lokonga, for fuck's sake, on his own again. It was like, ugh. So I'll tell you what, the interesting. I think he's tapped out. I think Arteta's had enough of him in his injuries, and we've seen it. We saw it at Tierney. We've seen it at Tierney now since last summer.
I think Arteta is learning now. I think Arteta is learning in terms of, like at least now, like we're not pushing players through, and I think that becomes where we got a bigger squad as such. Like you talk about the Thomas Partey incident. That wouldn't happen this year. If we had got to a second leg of a League Cup semi-final and Thomas Partey turned up on the day, he wouldn't do that this year. He wouldn't do that. I think Arteta is learning on the job, and I think things like that have let Arteta down in the past. Like when Thomas Partey got chucked on the pitch at Tottenham when he was off injured. You know what I mean? There's little things like that. Just going on to your Nana one.
Yeah,
he's too hot and cold for me. That's my personal opinion. Like, you watched him last year against Arsenal, and he was unbelievable that day, weren't he? But I don't think I'm not sure he's consistent enough. I'd like to see a bit more consistency from him, but maybe that's coming because Everton are kind of rising now, aren't they? In terms of obviously they're picking up results and all that, but not for me at the moment. I would like us to go out and buy someone better.
And he's 22 also, so he's still young. So there's still, I think with him at it, and I do like him, and I understand what you're saying there. And Everton is really a hard nut to really kind of evaluate because they've been so poor. They're getting better, but they're also a product of the bottom three being so weak too. I mean, I think the thing to think about the January window, it's so difficult to get a good move. You're going to pay premium, right? To me, July and August, June and July, you're going to pay probably more fair market value for a player than you would in January or even late August towards the deadline day, where there's that desperation to like, hey, I've got to go get somebody. So January, I know I mentioned Louise and Onana. The more I think about it here in Utah, Liam, and thinking about where we are currently as a club, I think if you're going to get a guy that's going to be a difference maker for the title run or wherever we're going to be at come January, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see. I just hope the club doesn't spend recklessly on someone that won't help the team. Like, if you find somebody you can get a good deal, like I heard someone mention about Victor Osimhen and how miserable he is at Napoli. I mean, what would that cost to get him out of there? And then on top of that, would Napoli make a decision based on where they are in Champions League? Because I know is unhappy, but it's going to be this. I don't know. Like the January window is a very tricky one because everybody says buy players. Well, we would have spent $90 million on Mudryk. We've seen how he's played out. Probably might still be a good player, but he was $90 million. Trosser cost us $27, was better value, right? So the January window, it's going to be interesting. But we're 1 point off of first, like Liam said earlier, man. Like, let's get these guys healthy and make another run at it.
Yeah, sorry, while you were chatting, I was just on Twitter. I'll put this on the screen now. So going back to the Odegaard thing before we go back to the other conversation now. And this is what I was referring to earlier, the update. And it's from Sammy Mockbell, from Chief Football Reporter from Daily Mail, apparently. Says the update is Martin Odegaard missed Arsenal's recent games against Newcastle and Sevilla due to concussion, taking a blow to the face in training. And obviously the rules over concussion here in the UK for the last few years is state players must rest for 6 days from that moment and then be symptom-free before returning to action. So how bad was it? If this is true, how bad was the concussion? It's got 2 weeks now since then, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's a pretty steep one, isn't it? That he would have got now and there.
That's what I put on.
Especially if he's been ruled out the Norway games as well because of it. That's like literally that will be over 2 weeks, won't it? But do you know what? It might work out in our benefit, as I said, because I think he needed a reset. I think you're right, Spencer, in terms of like sometimes people just need a reset after quite a few games. And I think like it has hurt us in terms of the Newcastle game for sure. But I think when we look at all the results over the last 2 weeks, it hasn't really played too much havoc because we've got the kind of results around it. And with Man City drawing yesterday, it's kind of obviously made that result not so bad. And like at least we've got the Newcastle away game out of the way. I think he'll be back after. I think he'll be back after break and he'll be playing at Brentford. I think we go more full strength when obviously Brentford return. I think hopefully Jesus will be back fit. I was just about to say, like with the centre midfield and striker positions at the moment, I think we will leave the striker position till the summer. I think because I think when you look at it, like we have got Jesus that we just need to keep fit. Like he's another one, isn't he? Like Thomas Partey just doesn't ever seem to be fit, and obviously it causes us a lot of issues. But I just look at this striker situation. I think if you can get the best out of Jesus and Trossard and Nketiah, I would definitely think Trossard and Jesus. If we get the best out of them two, then I think we can survive to the end of the season. I do think potentially the number 6 role is the more important role. But then if Thomas Partey does come back into the team, then you have got a ready-made quality player there to come in for the second half of the season. Which then I look at it the other way, and I think we need a striker. So I think we're going to go for one or the other, and then I think we leave the other signing to the summer. It all depends what he sees as a long-term vision for the striker role. Because I don't think he's just going to go out and buy anyone. I think that striker he brings in is going to be the linchpin for probably the next 5 to 7 years. You'd like to think.
Well, I think we all know his number one target is public. It's been put in public domain now. The number one target for Arteta, who he really fancies. Which again, I don't see us going in January for him. In Ivan Toney from Brentford, just because obviously Brentford won't want to sell him. Just because they were just getting him back from his ban, and I think, as I say, wait till the summer, get him in the summer, allow him a whole pre-season and summer and pre-season to settle in and adapt. I think he gives us he gives us what we're missing in terms of the clinical. He's got good hold-up play, running. Split the defence, score the goals, and he's got a bit of, in terms of how he scores, the amount of goals he'll score. I had that sort of Ian Wright feel in terms of when he came to us and he just slotted in and just did his job, got in, played, scored goals, and got on with it. And I think that's where Arteta's mindset is at in terms of taking us to that level. Because obviously, sorry, go on.
I think Stefan's had a few beers tonight.
And Brownlee, by the looks of it, fucking Jordan Henderson taking the piss. You forget you're confusing us, by the way, Brownlee, with in terms of his loans from Saudi Arabia. You're confusing us with Newcastle and Chelsea. Just saying. Moving on. But as I say, I think we make two. I think we'll make 2 signings in the window. Maybe one of them might be a loan with an idea, maybe buy him in the summer, depending on how the loan goes. Fucking Aaron Ramsey. Come on, guys. Behave yourselves. Just putting names out for the sake of it now. Milner's at Brighton. Let's not even go there. BX. Distracting me now. But I say, I think we buy someone, and I think we loan someone with the option, and then obviously reassess things in the summer and go home in the summer. League winners or not. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, can't nothing better injuries aside, as I keep saying in this podcast, is we are down to the bare bones, but we're getting the results. And Zinchenko, a guy that we've all had our doubts on defensively, stepped up on. I know it's Burnley, but he stepped up, put a decent performance in, and scored arguably the best goal of the weekend. Or second best, actually, because Wolves' equaliser, I say the best goal of the weekend, but second best goal of the weekend with a Di Canio-esque goal, if you will. I mean, again, Liam, you're watching that. Did you even? What was your mindset just seeing Zinchenko just jump in here and inherit his Karate Kid mode into the football?
Well, it was nice seeing him score at the Emirates first and foremost. It was a great finish. I probably didn't appreciate it as much as I should have done, if I'm being totally honest at the time. But I think them kind of games Zinchenko can easily play in, and he come in, didn't he, and had done a good job. Like I still have a lot of question marks over Zinchenko. I think he's a luxury to have to come into midfield at times, but I think defensively he's been shown time and time again that he's not good enough. And that's my concern with him. But I think he's definitely a great squad player to have. Yeah, I'm not brought with the whole defensive side of his game at the moment, and I think to go and win a Premier League or to be battling for it at the end of this season, like we need our left back to be defending well as well. I think Tomiyasu yet again had another good game. We went to right back this time. I think a lot has to be applauded about Tomiyasu this year because he's been injured for quite a while. And I think we kind of forgot about him, but forgot what he can produce.
How good he was, because Ben White just came in and slotted into his role, didn't he? Yeah.
I thought I'd be honest, and I'll put my hands up on it. I thought that we'd probably outlasted Tomiyasu in terms of I thought that potentially we've gone to a different level, and maybe he was just going to be that squad player, but he's come in this year. And I think he's been one of our best players. So that's a massive benefit for us. And I think the biggest thing of all is that we still got Timber to come back in his side. And if rumours are true that he's going to be back by probably back end of January, that would be unbelievable.
From January onwards,
Yeah, that would be unbelievable news, because rest assured, this guy is a different level. Rest assured, this guy is going to take us to another level. I see a game and a half of him. Man City in the Community Shield and Nottingham Forest in that first half. This bloke's the real deal, mate. Honestly, he's so good. And I bet Arteta's gutted that he hasn't got him, because I think he's going to take us to a different level. And I think the good thing about that is that we got him to come back, and he's going to be quite fresh. So you'd like it, even if he come back middle to end of February. That's when the Champions League starts kicking in again. Get him in, get him playing some games, and hopefully he'll be there for the finale of the season, and that can only strengthen us even more. So really good options at left back at the moment in terms of them three players, and I think Zinchenko needs to be on his A game all the time. If he isn't, he ain't going to play, and I think Arteta's shown that already.
Yeah, and sorry for being benched back in. The thing of Union Timber, as you say, we only got to see in terms of competitive games itself. We only saw him up that game and a half. But you could already see it. Obviously, he's younger than Zinchenko, but he has that pace. He can do what Zinchenko does and more, because he has the pace to get back and defend. He can actually, with all due respect to Zinchenko, Timber can actually defend. And I was at that game with Forest, and as soon as he went down, I knew it was ACL, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, seriously. Arsenal and ACLs for the last 12 months, seriously. I was so gutted for him, more so because he's just arrived. The fans are on a high because they're liking what they're seeing from him. He was doing well when that game was on his debut, and then that happened just sporadically. Of all players, it had to happen to him, didn't it? Poor lad. But then you're hearing, as you say, if reports are true, that he's going to be back training way ahead of schedule. As I say, around mid to late January, he'll be back in training, and he could be playing if all goes well in terms of getting back into training. He could be back early to mid-February, second to third week of February. He could be back. March. He could be back playing, which we do. As we all know, we've seen it from the women's team for the last 12 months. When they've been getting ACLs, they've been out for pretty much 12 months before they even kick a ball again. So this is so rare to see, but it's good to see in as well. And hopefully it does happen, because he could be key in how our season ends as well. As long as we keep ourselves in and around until he gets back, along with everyone else as well in the meantime, he could be him coming back in and eventually getting eased back in and slotting back into that left back role, so that's midfield, could be key to how if we win any silverware this season, be it FA Cup, League, both, or Champions League by a miracle in that side of things. But you know what I'm saying? Because obviously you've got Bayern and City and Madrid ahead of you and all that. But it could be key. And touch wood, there's no setbacks on that side of things. And yeah, I mean, let's get the other players back first. But as I say, maintain ourselves between now and then, keep ourselves in the conversation, if not lead the line, and go from there, really. Everyone's in the chat's going to put random names in the chat, by the way. I mean, John Jensen and Declan Moss would be amazing, says Emma. Dane Bowers. Oh my God. It's literally not in footballers are naming now. There's random names in the chat. But Spencer, I mean, what are your thoughts and all that.
If you can get Timber back in January, that's a miracle. I think it's going to be more likely March.
No,
Because
in terms of training, apparently, in terms of training, he'll be back in January from January time, and about March time, we're going to start seeing. Yeah.
I think even March would be excellent for an ACL, considering the position. But I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I've got a guy over here in America, Aaron Rodgers, that's trying to do this revolutionary type of rehab for his Achilles, and he said he's going to be back in 4 weeks. I don't believe it, but he's going to give it a shot. He's also 40, so it's just the rehab. Everybody goes through different rehabs to get themselves ready back. So who knows exactly what Timber did? But I was thinking more about the team and Zinchenko, and Tomiyasu gives you everything you need as far as defensively in the left back position, but Zinchenko gives you a little bit more going forward. If you keep the Zinchenko one is a funny one because when he's on it, and I'm talking offensively, I mean he's just so good and such like an extra elite midfielder in the middle of the pitch that can help you maintain the possession and make those, set people up for runs and stuff. We've seen him do it. But that inverted left back, it's so hard. I don't like the position of the tactic of it because it leaves you vulnerable on the counter attack. And I think that's where the difference this year is. We're playing a little bit more slower possession based. I put in the chat earlier, we scored the same amount of goals in the Premier League through 12 games this year as we've done last year. So really the difference is, and I know there's going to be a comment that 6 of the goals have come from penalties, vice 3 last year. So open play goals have gone down. But we've become a little bit more possession based. I know people roll their eyes when they hear the word field tilt, but we've got players in there differently that allow us to do the inverted role, but we try to avoid the counterattack mistakes that we made last year, right? That's what I think really cost us. When we gave up goals that were horrible. So when I look at the team and thinking about Timber coming back and what he adds, I mean, that's going to be like a brand new signing, when he comes back. I mean, I watched him at the MLS All-Star game, and when you see elite players and elite speed, right? Timber was one of these guys that his on-the-ball ability was what stuck out to me when I watched him, and the command presence he had with the ball on his feet. So you got him and Penn White, Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, when you do that good rotation of your fullbacks and do the overlapping and the inverted, because you look at the way we play, everything is free-flowing and I mean, we saw Kai Havertz. I mean, I don't know how much you guys got to see the game, but I mean, he was absolutely playing as a second striker sometimes and also drifting to wide behind Saka, and Saka was moving centrally. So the ability to have players that could do multiple things are what's going to help this team find a way to win the title or win a cup or whatever the goal is going to be this year. And, I know we talked about the January window and everything. I mean, you could do all right with Jorginho and Rice at the 6 if you had to. The Partey thing, if he comes back, I just, I guess for my rambling here, I'm a lot more happier about where this season is compared to last year, I think. I know the football doesn't look as pretty, but I think we're a little bit more defensively sound. I know I'm not going to start Ryan on this one, but the Raya Ramsdale argument is going to be the big difference, right? And like I'm not digging at that one, but
No.
there is. I feel a lot better about this team than I do last year's team, and I think it comes down to Declan Rice. I think that's what my difference for me is. So, but yeah.
And also, one midfielder we haven't mentioned tonight is El Neni. I know he's just coming back from injury, but obviously with Jorginho, as you say, we could rotate. But basically, what I'm trying to say is we could rotate the 2 every few games. As soon as one's going to have a drop off, put the other one in and start, because then he's come back. He's starting to get a few minutes under his belt. And he'll do as he's shown in years gone by. He'll put a 4 or 5 game run together of decent performances, and then take him out onto the bench, Jorginho back in, and just keep that going if you have to. Alongside Declan, it's been on this party situation now, how long this fucking goes on for. and depending on what we're doing in January as well in terms of transfer business in general. So, okay, we've got options. We're not just restricted to or parties out. We're not doing what we did 2 years ago, going into the AFCON. We've party out, Xhaka injured, and send Ainsley out on loan. We're going to stick ourselves with one midfielder. We've actually got a couple of options. Just we could alternate with every few games or whatever, depending on the situation. Especially in January, as I say, especially after the international break, where the games are to come in, pretty much it feels like every 2 to 3 days you're going to have a game for Arsenal. Back into the group stages and the league and all that. So you've got that to carry us over, so not running the player into the ground and causing more problems going forward. But I want to obviously, Liam mentioned earlier in the podcast that the referee weren't too bad. I want to touch on something. First half, Saka, ball comes in, his arms like that, he nudges the defender. The defender doesn't complain. That's a foul. Yet we're told 48 hours prior that 2 hands on Gabriel's back wasn't a foul. Where's a
Well, it is a foul, isn't it? They're lying, isn't they? They're like.
Well, we've been warned apparently. Yeah. Howard Webb and all that tonight have given Arsenal a warning that the audio will be released tomorrow on their referee watch with Marco Owen BS.
I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in it, mate. I will not watch it.
No, I'm not watching it myself. I'm not. I know the timeline. Our timelines will be filled with it anyway. But I'm not. I don't watch it anyway. Marco Owen, it's boring as bread.
He's had a week and a half. He's had a week and a half, Howard Webb, to come up with some kind of excuse. Like, he can't get out of this one. Like, okay, fair enough. There might be an inch of a ball left on the blade on the white line. There might be that. But the foul is a foul. And this is my bit, right, where I always say, when something controversial happens, right, just give it 7 days. Give it 7 days, right? The same incident will happen elsewhere, and you'll be proven right. And that situation is, yet again, proven right. And if you want to ask me at the end of the day, it's probably a foul. Do you know what I mean? Saka. It's probably a foul. Just like that one last Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just referring to the consistency. That was,
Yeah, exactly. Just like the one last Saturday. But there's no consistency, and he can't sit there and come on and try and paint a pretty picture. So there is no pretty picture. There's too many ex-referees come out. There's too many journalists that come out that have said differently. Do you know what I mean? I don't care what Gary Neville says. I don't care what Jamie Carragher says, because they've got an agenda. But when you've got ex-refs coming out and saying that it's a blatant foul, they're the people I'm more likely to listen to. And when you've got someone like Chris Waddle, who's at Newcastle, all over him, saying, well, no, it was a foul. It's a foul, isn't it? It's a foul all day long. Let's be honest, Joe Linton's not a small guy. If Joe Linton pushes you in the back, you're going to know about it. Like, what is he, 6'4", 6'5"? He's massive. He's a massive player, and he's got both hands on the back of his neck. There's no reason why Gabriel doesn't head that ball out. There's no reason why he would not head that ball out unless he's been pushed. And that's what's happened. And it's a foul all day long. We won't even go into the yellow. We won't even bother going into the handball. But he will sit there tomorrow with his little. I'm going to be quite polite about this, because obviously on the show, with his soft mate, Michael Owen, and he's not going to get challenged for Michael Owen, is he? Because Michael Owen's already come out and agreed with him.
Yeah, publicly. So I've never watched any of the shows. I just every time there's a show, our timeline gets filled with
we're here
everything. And we know it's going to happen tomorrow, no matter what. It's just going to double down. And I find it a pointless thing anyway, because the Howard Webb says something and doesn't get challenged. It's like Marco Owen goes on to, well, this is the new subject for this one. This is what we're going to look at now. And passes over to Howard. Howard Webb then goes, this is why we didn't do this. Okay, moving on now. There's no challenge, and it's just like, it's a pointless. As I say, it's a pointless show. Oh, we're being transparent now. No, you're not. You're just doubling down on what your narrative is of the situation.
And where's this committee come from? Where's this independent committee come from? Yeah, right. Do you know what I mean? Where's it come from? Like, no one's heard of it before. Suddenly, Arsenal have a controversial goal that's scored against them, and you get an independent audit team come through, and then disclosing that there was nothing wrong with the goal. Absolute tosh. Absolute tosh. Like, it ain't going to change because, and like, we're going to get this week in, week out. And I always say, when a decision happens, you're the next week, something else will happen and you'll scratch your head. Just like the sending off, the Man City player should have been sent off against us. What happened a week later at Liverpool-Everton?
Yeah.
The Everton player was sent off.
For the exact same challenge.
For exact same challenge, you know what I mean? And you just sit there and you literally just scratch your head each week. And you just sit there and you know that you're going to go back in the following week and something's going to happen and you're going to come back to us and go, do you know what I mean? Where's consistency? There is none. There is none. They don't know what they're doing. Like, we got to remember, yeah, right? Lee Mason is he's coaching the next batch of referees coming up.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. Like, Lee Mason, like, nah. We got no hope, have we? We got absolute no hope.
The guy that forgot to draw lines on the screen got sacked forcibly, brought back to train RFs like 6 months later. He couldn't make it up. And the standard, as I've been saying all season now, it's no coincidence that since Lee Mason's come back and he's now training these officials, that the standard is getting so bad every week. It's not just a one-off game. It's like 4 or 5 games a week. It's not even funny anymore. But when when Liverpool spoke out, the media and all that, and most fans were like, yeah, they've been wrong. Arsenal speak out, cry babies, shut up, put up, nothing wrong. It's dangerous to talk about VAR, talk out against VAR. How dare you? It's like Mickey Richards said a couple of years back, when Arsenal do something that's the same as anyone else, Arsenal get treated differently. It's us against the world, basically. And as much as it annoys us sometimes, and so we've got to just accept it and use it to our strength, maybe, as a club and as a fan base, and just go, well, screw you all. We're going to do our thing anyway, and we're going to do things to spite you, basically. But someone, yeah, right, really cracked me up. Someone I used to work with sent me this list, yeah, right, of the committee at the PGL MOL, and it just cracked me up. Like, some of the names that are on the list. Obviously, Howard Webb, chief refereeing officer. We got John Moss, the Select Group 1 director. Good old John Moss. Do you remember him? Kevin Friend, the Select 2 group manager. It gets better. Do you know who the Select Group 1 coach is? This is going to make you absolutely crack up. This is when Ryan starts choking. No, Martin Atkinson. Martin Atkinson. It just gets better. Referee coach, Lee Mason. Football Insights coach, Andre Mariner. It did crack me up, this one. You'll never guess who the other Football Insights coach was. Weren't even a referee, but was a former Arsenal player. Very limited former Arsenal player as well. Oh, limited. So he's not nothing. Doesn't have any real affiliation to us, really.
No, but he scored about 4 goals for us.
Ex-Arsenal
striker in the 90s.
Oh, fucking Paul Dickoff, Andy Cole.
No.
Trying to think now.
Shall I give you a clue?
Go on.
Stefan should get this one.
Oh, okay.
Who do we buy from Ipswich?
Richard Wright? But he was a
Chris Koromya.
Oh my God.
He somehow made it in there, but you just look at that, yeah, right, and you just sit there and think it's just an old boys club, isn't it? Alan Wiley, another referee coach, and they just keep it in between themselves. But what they're doing well now, and they're doing quite cleverly, they're sending the people like Mike Dean onto the TVs to try and brainwash us all.
Yeah, on Saturdays from 12 till 5, R5.
Just to Ross's message, there is no Paul Durkin on here at the moment, but he's probably lingering around somewhere wrong across the committee.
Oh, you watch Graham Pole. He'll be somewhere amongst it all as well. Graham Pole, Mr. 3 yellow cards in the head.
You just can't make it up, can you? You can't make it up. Like, the Lee Mason one really made me laugh because they made out that they'd obviously kind of like dismissed him as such.
Yeah,
all they did was put him on gardening leave to the end of the season. put you on gardening leave, let it all kind of filter out and all that. Everything will calm down, and then we'll put you in the background as referees coach, and nothing else more will be said. But he's now training up the next batch of our referees, and you sit there and you think, well, we got no hope, have we? It's just going to get worse and worse. And I'll be honest, I look at that job now. Who wants to be a referee?
No, exactly. The whole setup is wrong. And as you say, it's like the old boys' club, and everyone's like, pretty much all these guys you mentioned, all worked with Howard Webb, and he was a ref back in Davies' time as well. So it's not even like he's coming into it. He has no affiliation. These are his mates from back in the day, and he's looking after them, making sure they've got a job, one way or the other. It's clear as day. But hey, don't worry. Every international break, we'll get a one-off shows on certain bits and pieces to justify their behaviour, and we've got to suck it up basically, because that's them being open with us basically. Yeah, Russ is impressed by it. Russ is impressed by your name from Chris Coromia.
What a name that was! Like, how's he got himself on the PGMOL committee?
I'd be more accepting if it was someone like Paul Davis, who we had on the podcast last year. That would make sense. At least it'd be balanced as well. But this is just ridiculous. So again, I forgot they don't have balance. We might get Sonogo off. Oh my god. Jesus.
I keep thinking back to what you kind of said a few weeks ago, Spencer, in terms of it's entertainment, isn't it? Like,
it feels like it, yeah.
But it was refreshing yesterday, right? And I never thought I'd watch a Chelsea game where I'd sit there and say to you after it was refreshing. It was refreshing watching two clubs go hammer and tong at each other. Okay, the referees did come into play, and there were some controversial decisions. But at the end of the day, when that game was over, we didn't talk about VAR, really. We didn't talk about the referees. We actually talked about two clubs going hammer and tong at each other. And it was just refreshing and nice to see it. And it was the first time that I've walked away from Chelsea, actually, to be fair, and the Tottenham game. But I just felt that's what makes me fall in love and loves the Premier League. That's why I love the Premier League. And I feel over the last couple of years, and I don't feel I'm the only person, we're all getting really into that kind of zone where we're losing faith because what's happening off the pitch in terms of Stockley Park and the way obviously the game's going. And it was just nice that we see a game yesterday where everyone was talking about the game after. Like, what a game, what a fantastic advert for Premier League football. And that, do you know what? Well done to both teams, because it was an incredible game of football. And it does show you what the Premier League does have to offer when we get it right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what... Yeah, go on, Spencer, go on. Oh, so I was going to say, I think, and I'm thinking about this too, when the margins of the game, when games finish 1-0, for example, there's the likelihood of VAR rearing its ugly head and potentially having, or the refs, we'll go to the refs. We'll be fair to VAR because the computer doesn't screw up. It's the people running it. The closer the game is, the more likely the refs have an ability to have an impact. You have a 4-4 game, you could sit there and make an argument, well, if we were better in X, Y, and Z, it wouldn't matter what the ref did, right? So then the higher scoring the game, the more you are responsible for the fact your team gave up 5 goals or 4 goals, right? It's kind of, like I said, it is entertainment, but I think the margins are so close in some of these games that, the ref impact can be felt. And to sit there and they're going to release audio, man, I just, that's not the, and like you said, it's not why you love football. You don't love it for the technical portion or the referee. You don't want to hear any of that crap. You really don't. Like, we're not blind. I put in the chat the FA rule on a foul, pushing an opponent. We can bluntly see last Saturday, Joe Linton pushed Gabriel. The ball being out, I understand physics, and I get that. Great, but that was bluntly a foul, and they bluntly screwed it up. It was almost. It's just. I wonder if you also have people look at the age of those guys, right? Let's be honest here, and this is going to sound very ageist, and I'm sorry, Brian. It's not bad though. Some of these guys don't know how to use technology, right? Mm. Unless there's a guy there that's quick with computers and understands how to do it, they might be sitting there freaking out, being like, we got to get this game back on the line, but they don't know how to click certain buttons, and that's unacceptable, right? Then you need to have some 20-year-old that knows how to click buttons properly for them. So if that becomes the excuse, like, God knows what that audio sounds like, guys, to be fair with you. But you were right, Liam. Like that game yesterday was an excellent game, man. It's one of those Sunday afternoon games that get you itching for the next game, but we have to wait 2 weeks now. And that's what the Premier League does, right? It
Yeah.
creates this excitement because you chase that moment, you chase that emotion. But yeah.
Or you can do what Ashford Wet did yesterday and turn up in a half and half shirt. Claims to be a Chelsea fan from Portsmouth and turns up in a half and half.
Yeah, that was a bit pathetic, wasn't it, really, for being on the show?
Attention seeker.
That's just an attention seeker, though, isn't it? Just craving attention. Yeah. At the end of the day. I would say, yeah, right. Like I do agree with Russ. It was a soft penalty yesterday, but and it was one of, like, let's be honest, it's what 115 charges FC get, though, isn't it? Really, like I haven't seen the decision kind of go the other way with them at the moment, and I think that's the frustration now, that they seem to be picking up these really soft kind of penalties, and it was a soft penalty, but unfortunately, it was one of them, weren't it, where it maybe shouldn't have been given, but it was, but you could see why it was given as well. You could see why it was given, but it's one of them where I just feel that Man City get them decisions. I do. That's my personal opinion. I think Man City do get them decisions, and
they got away with it against us. They
got the Man United one as well, didn't they? That was quite debatable as well. So they do get the penalty decisions, and I do think that they're getting a massive. I don't even think it's a massive rubber to green. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm longing for a game where one goes against them, because it doesn't seem to happen. And you look at Liverpool. Right, they were at the peak of their game for 5 years, and they only could win that title once. And they basically waited for a dip off Man City to win that league. This is how hard it is to beat Man City to a title any season. So when they're starting to get the better share of the refereeing decision on top of that, I just think it becomes impossible for clubs. Like, it becomes impossible for fans, and then obviously each team gets loads more pressure put on them because they can't overrule Man City. But I don't know. Maybe I see it a little bit differently, but I just think it's really hard, and I do think that they get a lot of good decisions, and I do think it was quite a soft penalty. I do agree with him massively.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's so hard to win a title, right? Like, you have to have everything go right for you. And that's why I think my argument to keep Arteta, to the Arteta out crowd, you're not guaranteed to get another manager that's going to put you back in a position to win the title. You're not guaranteed that. Nothing is, like we said this earlier, you are not entitled based on your badge to be a champion team. You have to earn it. And, you're going to get some calls that go in your favor. I think, and I'm going to go back to the Vieira red card on Saturday. I think it's absolutely a red. But I kept looking at Michael Oliver, and I think the anger inside me is like, well, why couldn't you have pulled out a red on Kovacic when he did that to Odegaard a couple of weeks ago? You were worried about the entertainment value of that game. So that's where my anger was more directed towards when I saw that, because it was a red, right? You put your studs up like that, it's a dangerous play. But we're watching some of these. I just, the inconsistencies is what kills me. And I do understand there's a human element, right? Like, it's going to happen. Like, people are not perfect. They're going to miss stuff. But, Man City's going to get the calls. I mean, the big clubs are going to get the calls, right? Like, I think we said this a couple weeks ago. If that happens in the Luton game, Luton Arsenal, Luton player gets sent off. So you think they went 5 years with City and only got one of them. And that Liverpool team, like, they scared me more than Man City did sometimes because of that front three.
Like the level they got to now, mate, and they consistently get to season after season is unreal. It is unreal. Do you know what I mean? Like, I look at that team this year, and I do, like, without Kevin De Bruyne, like, fair play to them. Without Kevin De Bruyne still, and they have Rodri out, they're still top of the league. But you just sit there and you just think, if they get him back at some point, hopefully it won't be back at any point soon, it becomes very, very hard for any team to kind of, you've literally got to be perfect. Like, you see the season we had last year up to about February time, we was literally perfect. And, mate, you need that bit of luck. You do need that bit of luck. And unfortunately, I don't see all the other clubs around Man City getting that luck. You look at Liverpool. Like, let's be honest, Liverpool should be top of the table right now. Yep. If that decision doesn't get given, against Liverpool at Tottenham. Liverpool are the best team in the Premier League at the moment, and that's quite unreal because, like, obviously no one really spoke about them at the start of the season. Like, they should be top of the table, Liverpool. But they're not, because obviously decisions went against them. And then you start looking at other clubs, and you see we've been obviously moaning about obviously decisions against us. It's not, and like I think the other club and they're not in the top of the table, who can feel a lot hard done by this season, is obviously Wolverhampton. I think they've had a bad rub of the green as well. So I think that they're the clubs that really can kind of moan about it at the moment. But yeah. I am longing for a big old Man City VAR cock-up or something. Will it happen? I don't know.
Well, the next game is Liverpool at the Etihad, so on an early kickoff as well on Saturday, and the first game back. Never know. You never know. I doubt it, but you never know. Oh dear! But with that, we are going to wrap things up because again, we've got no men's football now. 2 weeks down to our next game now. So yay! Thanks for the. International break again, the third one this year, season, whatever you call it. But we have got the girls. But sorry, Stefan, no ranting tonight. You got your mini event last night with me, and we were 2-0 down. The girls are 2-0 down. If you know, you know. Liam, I don't know if you was watching, but
yeah.
I sort of lost it.
You couldn't make that first half up, though, could you? Like, there was nothing that told me they were going to come out second half and perform like that. Let's be honest, though, Leicester City are one of the most shocking teams I've seen. Like, I don't even know how they're in the Premier League, to be fair.
No idea. I don't know how they... Well, I know how we've switched up and let them have 2 goals, but that second half, the girls...
Blew them out the woodwork, mate.
We've got the goal, fuck you. Now you're getting punished for fucking scoring against us twice. But we had
it should have been 10-2. It should have been 10. It should have been 10-2 at the end of that game. We hit the post about 3-4 times.
Yeah, Beth hit the post and had a shot directly at the goalkeeper. If she decides the goal, that'd be a goal as well. It should have been Leah Hurling. She hit the crossbar of her first touch. Stina had hit the post. It was just, but we still scored.
Yeah, it was unreal. It was unreal. We literally the third goal though, absolute world class. What a finish that is! What a goal, build up. What a goal. That reminded me. Do you know what that goal? Ian Wright-esque that finish. Ian Wright-esque that finish.
Just my days.
That's such a great goal.
Yeah.
If that goal was scored in the Premier League, we'd be talking about it all night.
Oh, definitely. No, I'm saying, I'm like, how? What?
Unreal goal, mate. Unreal goal. Needs to be spoke about more, that goal.
It does, and I will say this might entice you to go and watch back, but you guys. But when the fifth went in, I did a little dance.
I think I might have to watch that.
I literally got up and did a little dance. I was like, "Yeah, game over. I can celebrate now properly." But yeah, it's 2-0. I was losing it, but we're 2-0 down. I've got fucking commercial fireworks. I'm meant to be you're meant to use at a private event, being let off in the street. To the point the street was smoked up, but it's coming over, debris on my roof. Fucking the microphone was picking up the noise, and every time I had to speak, I had to stop, but it was pissing me off. And I got some idiot in the chat saying, "Oh, you're a grown ass man, calm down." Like, fuck off. The team's losing 2-0. My dogs are fucking old and panicking. Fireworks are galore coming over. Yeah, I'll be happy. Woohoo, yeah. I went on a complete meltdown. The second half, as I say, changed it, but I think Matthew's in the chat now was saying we get an early goal, we'll be fine. It was the only one that was optimistic in the halftime chat, but yeah, I lost my mind.
We do. There's something about us in first half games at the moment. No, we're not playing well.
Both men and women, yeah.
Common thing, especially the women. Like quite common thing.
So I want to give a shout out, if you don't mind, the Clemson men's soccer team. So it's called soccer because the men's football team is American football. So the men's soccer team, they won their basically under 21s, you would call it. They won the conference championship game over North Carolina yesterday, 2-1 on 1-1 in penalties. So it was a pretty good weekend, and they punched a ticket for the NCAA tournament that's coming up, and hopefully they can go win the national championship. So wanted to give them a shout out. It's good work by the boys.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck tonight. Good luck later as well, mate.
Yeah, we'll
Broncos,
see what
yeah.
happens. It's gonna be a tough one. We'll see. So,
Who are you playing later?
they're playing the Buffalo Bills. And Buffalo's been struggling a little bit. It's the game's in Buffalo. I have tons of Buffalo fans, so if it doesn't, friends. So if it doesn't go well, I'm sure my phone will ring up like crazy. But it's the late game. I took a couple hours off so I could watch it tonight. So I'll be going later to work tomorrow. Boss was cool to let me do that, and we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully we can get the trifecta. Arsenal win, Clemson won on Saturday, and then we can get Denver. That's always the three. Let me get those three, and I can have a good weekend. So.
Okay, cool. Have you got anything coming up on your channel, Liam, during the international break? Any podcast, anything?
I might get something up on Thursday night. Yeah, might just get a show on, but yeah, there's not really much going on, is there? Well, I don't even know what England game's going on. What days are they this weekend?
I can check if you bear with me. I can put the phone
Yeah.
Let me have a look.
England games just kind of go over me a little bit, to be honest, at the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we learned the hard way last time out. So,
is there a game Friday night?
You got Malta Friday night at 2:45, so 7:45 your spot. And then Monday the 20th, you guys play North Macedonia. So your match day 9 and 10 for the Euro qualifiers.
I'm free Friday night if you fancy doing something on there.
Yeah, can do. Yeah, I've got nothing planned myself. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah's away, so I'll be free.
Probably see Saka get injured, the poor bastard, because Southgate's a prick. We know what he's going to do with Saka. You're going to play him in every minute of every game. So yeah, might as well. If the guy's up for that as well, we'll do that as well. Obviously, Angie's got her show on Thursday night as well. So we've got Angie's show Thursday, possible watch along Friday. The girls are playing on Sunday early kickoff as well. It's 2:00 kickoff, I believe it is on Sky. I think it's on Sky. So we're doing that as well as always. We're trying to do some stocking fillers throughout the week as well. This international break in general. Just trying to do some stocking filler content as well, just to keep the channel going, ticking over and all that. But do go check out Liam's channel. And Spencer, have you got anything coming up on your channel or any appearances elsewhere?
So I'll be on Gary's show later on tonight. Don't waste the trip. I'll be on there tonight. I really don't have much going on. The YouTube channel is Bronco and DA 9986. I do discuss Arsenal, NFL, college. I'm an extreme Christmas decorator. So I've been out any free time I've had that's non-watching sports. I've been in my yard preparing 25,000 lights for the kids in the neighborhood. So as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna go outside and work in the yard. And it's so until Thanksgiving next week, I'm usually kind of like booked, and then after that, it's free, and I'll try to do content again. It's just been kind of hard recently, so I've been trying to help others out, such as yourself, Ryan, and I appreciate you allowing me to be on and be the American voice out here. So, and Liam, you as well. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Yourself?
Yeah, it's been fun.
Always a pleasure.
Oh yeah, as I about to say, always a pleasure, and enjoy having you both on and talk. Yeah, I've genuinely started enjoying these podcasts with you guys as well. So, hence why I'm sort of trying to keep this going and all that when we can. So yeah, obviously the next couple of days we'll be off, guys. We're back on Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe. Obviously, just smash the like button and share the content around. If you've missed any part of this show, you want to listen to it back on the go, the audio will be up in the next half hour or so on all audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all other apps, podcast apps as well, etc. So keep an eye out for that. And again, do help spread the word on that as well. Last time I checked, last week, the audio side of the podcast is number 5, not the 5th most listened to Arsenal podcast and the Arsenal podcast in the world. So we're going places now. Yeah, we're kicking on, going for that number 1 spot in good company as well and all that. Talking to podcast, I'm going to end this one. Obviously, whilst I'm downloading the audio for this, I will be watching the Hybrid Squad because Aaron's dad was on tonight on the Hybrid Squad tonight. So I'm going to check that out, see how he's feeling as a newly granddad to Aaron's son and all that, and how that's all going, and all these thoughts and how Aaron's been treated, really. Apart from that, guys, take care of yourselves as always, and up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.